finally that worked. All right. Welcome to the off night. I'm Mark Sweetman. It says right there, I'm your hostess with the mostest. This is now the 160th show we've done. We started off in the pandemic in 2020. We've been there every Monday night at 8 o'clock since then. It's the off night. It's for comics and anybody else who works at night or has an avocation at night. And Monday night is usually our off night. Weekends are our busiest. So we've been here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Now, since we started the show, there's a lot of open mics and a lot of jam sessions on Monday nights, but we kept it at Monday night. We'll get it back if we have to. Anyway, so I'm here, and normally Andy, my sidekick and a longtime friend, Andy Jensen, is introducing us. But he is called me up and told me he would be about 10 or 15 minutes late. So in his absence, I just introduced the show myself. I think I've given you a good introduction of it. We have regulars who I'll introduce, but first I'd like to introduce my bride. Yesterday, by the way, was our 40th wedding anniversary, and we celebrated. Not a joke. We celebrated 40 years by each doing comedy at the Ale House in Ypsilanti, where we've been for the last 14 months on Sunday nights. And the Ale House doesn't always do holidays, but the Unclub has done holidays. Yep. So it was a pretty small crowd because I don't think we did Memorial Day weekend last year, and we did this year. So once they know that we're there all the time. But if there's an Academy Awards, if there's a Super Bowl, if there's any kind of event that's going to drag people away, we are going to be there for counter programming.
That's right.
Everybody doesn't love the Super Bowl. Everybody doesn't love the award shows. So anyway,
and here we are on Memorial Day.
There we are. And here, that's right. And we'll get to that after Susan. Now, Susan reads a topical poem. She started
I don't just read it.
Yeah, she writes it. Exactly. She composes a topical poem and then she reads it. She started this about August. It'll be 2 years in August. She's been doing this.
That sounds about right.
And one of our regulars, Sam Greenfield, gushed so much about it that we just made it a regular. And I'm going to give it over to Susan. Now, here's Susan with our topical poem of the week.
Okay, but also the background is that Mark has a hard time pulling together an agenda or an outline of what he wants to talk about. So the poem helps give him something if he can't focus on the news because he's not that organized. So here we go. This week's poem. Building crumbles in Iowa. It's a miracle that no one died. The Post counts over 30K misleading statements. Turns out Trump lied. Biden and McCarthy debt ceiling agreement has been signed. 1 week to default. Fingers crossed both sides will be aligned. Some made the ultimate sacrifice. Today they are observed. Memorial Day celebrated as we remember those who served.
All right.
And that is your poem.
Thank you. Stick around, Andy. Oh, is Andy back? No, Andy's not here yet.
Bring your people in, and I have to be chauffeur tonight.
Oh, that's right. Susan has to chauffeur. We're short one car here at Sweetman Taxi Service. So she has to go get one of our kids at work. Anyway, through the months now, through 160 episodes, we've added we had a co-host. We've had Andy as an announcer. I used to have one of the creators of the show went off to go back to his regular radio job because he had to make a living. And so we've added people. And the first person we had him as a guest in July of 2020. He was a smash hit, probably the most reviews. And according to the reading off in the YouTube thing there, the most repeat views. So people that had come and watched it came and watched it again. So we said, hey, let's make him a regular. And that's Sam Greenfield. Let's bring Sam out here. Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
Well, I just want to say, is Susan still there? Because there's nothing more touching than celebrating your anniversary by taking a cheap shot at your husband's organizational abilities. I tell you, happy anniversary, honey. Do you know where your shoes are? Oh,
You know what's fun? Somebody said that to me last night. He goes, "Why every week after week you allow you run this show? You decide who's up there. Why week after week you put your wife up there for her to just, just do a roasting of you?" And I
but
said,
you said something that was that would have been hilarious, considering you and I are both married, which was if the guy actually said, "Why do you allow your wife?" Really? Hello?
"Yeah, exactly." That is
By the
very funny.
way, I actually have the off night on my iPad, but it's not engaged. I have the picture, I have everything, but it's not engaged with tonight's show. And I did everything I was supposed to do. I copied, I pasted, and it's just not there. So I'm going to go to a Apple store tomorrow and take care of this because it's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Yeah. I have considered having the same link every week, so we wouldn't have to change it every week. But then I want to be able to have, because we do it on through YouTube, I want to be able to pick up views for past shows, and it
Oh
would
no,
take.
don't bother with that. I'll take care of this.
Okay, because right now I can give somebody wants a date. I can go to that date. I can get the
No,
link.
no, no. Don't
Mhm.
don't do that. No.
All
It's
right.
fine.
Okay. Good. Yeah, and they, you know what? At the Apple stores, they call them Apple geniuses anyway. So let them prove that they're geniuses. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was watching Jeopardy tonight, which I plan to be on within the year.
Hmm.
And
Good.
there was a
Now,
guy on.
I thought you'd already been on it. I thought you'd already been on it. Did they
No,
allow
I've been
you?
on 5 game shows, none of which are Jeopardy.
Oh, I thought you had been.
Jeopardy's the last. Jeopardy's the last one. That's it.
Okay. Well, good luck.
Thanks. It's funny now that I'm older. They're asking questions that the panelists don't know, and I do.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah.
See,
So
and what's going to happen is that the day you're on, it's going to be all rap and hip
it'll
hop
be
questions.
it'll be famous Finnish violinists. That'll be it. Okay, kneecaps for 300, Alex. But they had a guy on tonight whose father was on Jeopardy and finished second, whose wife was on Jeopardy and finished second, and he finished second.
Oh my God!
And it was
That's
an
cool.
easy question because it's Memorial Day. The question was, this was because the identity of this person was discovered. His body parts were moved to St. Louis. It's the tomb of the unknown soldier. And the guy started to write it, and he wrote something that looked like a death threat for the illiterate. I was embarrassed, and he was in the lead.
Oh, that's
He was
a
in
shame.
the lead. I mean, it's unbelievable. Terrible.
So I sent you a picture of your neighborhood. You see it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter, my middle daughter, she had 2 things she wanted to do, and you're never going to guess what they. Well, the one was the tower. She wanted to go up on the World One Center, Trade Center. Yeah, and she wanted to see that, and we did that. But she also wanted to go to Coney Island. So
We were just in Coney Island. Coney Island's wonderful.
Oh, we had a great time there. I should have sent you those pictures too. But anyway,
No, we went there. What did we go there for, Barbara? Was it Mother's Day? Yeah, for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, you know why? Barbara wanted to go to the aquarium.
Yeah, my daughter wanted to go too, and by the time we got out there, I says, "Let's make another trip, and we'll do it when we can spend a day here." Because we walked past it. It's the aquarium.
Well, here's the thing about the aquarium. It's not as large. Am I wrong about this, Barbara? It's not as large as you might think it is.
Well, there were also, when we walked by, there was an outdoor theater, what they call the 4D theater, and that wasn't open. I said, let's come between Memorial Day and Labor Day and do it when it's
a really large aquarium is Baltimore's.
Baltimore, yeah, I know. I've seen.
And I'll tell you something funny. My cousin Marta, the film editor, she got permission to go scuba diving in the aquarium.
Wow.
With the fish. It's a fee, yeah, I think. Sadly, though, one of the fish was a shark, and we miss her.
Unfortunately, we
But
missed her.
but the shark didn't.
But she
if you know what
died
I'm
doing
saying.
what she wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, her last words were, "Is that a?"
Hey, this is interesting. We went and saw Funny Girl.
Oh, how'd you like it?
I liked it. I really liked it. Except for one thing, though, my daughter. I was kind of getting a bad vibe from her. She's sitting next to me, and she really wanted to see the Michael Jackson musical, which makes sense. I mean, she's 20 years old, but she says, I really appreciate that you took me. And I go, this is a 59-year-old. This opened in 1964. That's 59 years ago, this story. How old
Yeah.
I go,
How was
and
She was great.
she was great. She's the best singer I've seen so far. And here's another thing that's interesting. This is the first year in my life, I never thought this would happen. I have seen more of the Tony Award nominees than I have seen the Academy Award nominees.
Wow. Good for you.
I've seen 5. I've seen 5 this year. Because I took my son that other time when we were going to meet and your sister died. And then I took my wife a couple of times. And the 5 shows, here's my ranking of the 5 shows I've seen. The best show I saw was Some Like It Hot. Without a doubt, my favorite show. Even in the 40 years I've seen Broadway shows. Some Like It Hot, the absolute best. Everything about it was perfect. Second in that list, Book of Mormon. And Book of Mormon's been on a hit on Broadway now for what, 18 years?
10 years? Something like that?
Yeah, easily. Well, I think since before Obama was president, I think that opened before 2008. But anyway, so it was Some Like It Hot.
So Book that's 15 Mormon. Years.
Yeah. And Juliet. And Juliet's number 3.
Uh-huh.
And Juliet, Mark Lanow and Joanne Astro have money in that. They're 2 of the producers of that show.
Wow.
And that's the play, it's the musical that's based on, I can't think of the kid's name now, but he's had a lot of hits for female pop artists. I want to say Mark Martin, but that's not it. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, it's a compilation of his songs, and the kid who was the showrunner for Schitt's Creek wrote the book to string these songs together. It's called Anne Juliet, and the premise is, what if Juliet had not killed herself after she woke up and found Romeo dead?
Better him than me.
Exactly. But it was a great story. The music was great. The dancing was awesome.
So dancing's
always great. So that's number 3. Number 4 was Funny Girl. No, Funny Girl was number 4. But this is my ratings. Of course, this is my ratings. But Lea Michele was just absolutely fantastic. Everybody was great in it. I had the same feeling that my daughter did when she turned to me. This kind of spoiled me for it. She turned to me at the end of it. She goes, "Is that how the movie ended too?" Because she's just expecting every every American story, doesn't it end up with somebody's happy at the end? But in Funny Girl, they don't. No. They don't come together. He goes to jail. Everything is wrong in the story.
And by the way, the real story of Fanny Brice makes Funny Girl look like a wonderland.
Exactly. Well, and the thing is, at intermission, my daughter now, she's like Googling Fanny Brice and Nick Arnstein, and she's looking at their pictures and going, "Well, this isn't real at all. They're ugly. I mean, they're just not very." I go, that's what.
That's why she's called Funny Girl.
She goes, yeah, and she says, "Is that why she's got that big dot above her in the middle of her forehead?" I go, "No, sweetie, that's a microphone. That's how they put microphones on." She thought,
"No, honey, she's from Mumbai."
Exactly. Anyway, and then we saw Bad Cinderella. And Bad Cinderella was we only saw it because it was Andrew Lloyd Webber, and that's what was available. And that was available, and because we don't buy tickets just in case we don't get there. We're always flying on budget airlines and things like that, so if we don't make it there, we buy our tickets when we get there. So a lot of times, right, buying whatever's left. What's it? But Anne Cinderella, my wife's review of that was there was a lot of eye candy for the ladies.
Did you did you ever see a Law and Order Criminal Intent called Stray? It was about a guy who was violent. He killed 2 cops and the 2 guys in the back of this cop car, and then he killed. He was with this girl who you know, who he was crazy about. Does that have any relevance to you? Have any idea?
Never saw that.
Well, 2 things about that show amazed. Oh, by the way, about that episode amazed me. Number 1, the guy who played, I can't remember the name of the character, played the killer who killed 2 cops. And by the way, one of the actors in that was Frank Santarelli. He played the lieutenant in charge of those cops. But anyway,
who I might like to remind our viewers is a former guest on the Off Night.
Yes, absolutely. And so they showed this guy, I can't remember his name now, his real name, but he plays a really mean, homicidal guy who part of his reason for his psychosis is he's dyslexic. You know, and no one ever diagnosed him. So he was bullied in school. He got into fights, all that kind of thing. So I'm reading up on the character in IDBM, right?
Uh-huh.
And it says, I'm going to make up a name. Bob, who lives in Denver with his husband. I went, well, hey, hello. I mean, this guy's the greatest actor ever.
Huh.
And the woman who played his girlfriend is Nikki B. Nikki B. James, who won and you reminded me of this. She won a Tony for her role in Book of Mormon.
Oh, okay. And
Book of Mormon, this is just me, was the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my life on Broadway.
Really?
That's my second.
It. Man, it's my.
I know. Listen, it's subjective, of course.
It's subjective. Yeah, that's why I said it's my list. Yeah.
Although you're wrong, but no, it's no, it's you know, that's you and your ex. You know, I just want to. No, I couldn't. One of the things that bothered me about it, and this is me being nitpicky, is the reviews of it were I was laughing hysterically from the opening line. And we couldn't hear half of it, said Barbara. That was the other thing. And so the opening line is, hello, I'm Elder Price. That's funny? Don't lie. Just say the show. Don't lie. Don't say the show is funny. And the fun is, I'm Elder Price. Oh, what are you clever? Jesus Christ. I was disappointed. Hadestown was great.
Anyway,
we saw Hadestown that way.
Yeah, Andy just popped in here for a second, and then he popped out. I wonder if. Oh well. Anyway, I want to get the other guys. I'll get Andy when he pops back in. I'll get him here. I want to get the other guys in here. After we added Sam as a regular cast member, Andy was doing our man on the street reports and ran into this next fella at a laundromat. Ypsilanti. We've had he was funny on the street. He's funny in his car. He's funny at home. Here's Jason Grant, everybody.
Hey, gentlemen. Hey, Sam, if you were disappointed by Book of Mormon, did you see Bella Abzug in Old Calcutta?
Or there was Jason Grant. Don't know what to say. Well, evidently, Jason has fooled us all because he's black.
Well,
having trouble connecting is all caused by unstable internet connection. I don't need to. I'm fine.
Oh dear!
Now they're going to jinx me.
Now, Jason, you weren't here for this part, but
yes.
Sam says he's got the Off Night on the iPad,
right?
But for whatever reason, when he goes into it, it's a different show than the current one.
He's going
to no show at all. It's just me.
He's going to
it's me.
He's going to the Apple store and having them help him out.
Okay. After the show, I will text over to you or to Sam or whomever, the my
Or maybe I can
personal
talk my daughter.
my personal code that he needs to get into the App Store.
Okay.
So just send it over to him, and you could can opener my life with it if you wanted to. I'm not sure you'd like seeing what's there. You could, but but it may come in handy just in case. I mean, I'm not worried about anyone doing it. I mean, you know, if you were to try to hack into my bank account, all it would do would be to lower your credit rating. You know, I mean, it's that Sam's back, yay! So Sam,
Jason?
yay! So did you see the Bella Abzug production of O Calcutta? I'm just curious. I mean, if you're talking about Broadway disappointments,
The joke about Bella Abzug, when she, for those of you who don't know, tough.
Yeah,
but tough.
You know,
okay, pick up a book.
Yeah.
Was that she always wore a hat to hide her bald spot.
Yeah.
And she never wore mini
damn.
skirts so you wouldn't see her balls. Those are the two remarks about Bella Abzug.
I remember the miniskirt joke. Yeah, damn, that's going back. I like that.
Well, so she.
Yeah, well, you know.
I want to get, you know, I got to get Andy in here, but before I do that, let me get the newest member of our regular cast in here.
Yeah, bring her in.
We met her at the Unclub in January, and she's she's funnier every time. Funnier every time we see her. Here she is back on the off night. Here's Lisa Green, everybody. Hello, Lisa.
There she is. There she is.
We're all talking about Broadway musicals, and I'm not involved. How dare you?
Hey, I'm going to let you guys take over because I got to help Andy get on here. So I'm going to bug out here, and you guys carry the conversation. I'll be back.
We'll do our best.
So I think I'm the only person in the trio I'm looking at who cares. But tonight is going to be a momentous night in the National Basketball Association.
Well, you're right about being the only one who cares. Good.
But it's it's amazing because no team, it's happened in baseball, it's happened in hockey, but no team has ever come back from 3-love to win. Ever. It's 0 for 150.
Yeah. Nice.
But tonight it's 3, and this is the first time that a team has come back from 0-3. In other words, that you've had teams that to tie it at 3-3. You've had teams that have gotten like 3-2 and then they lose 3-1 but this is the first time ever. And this game, the game that made it 3-3, was decided, and I'm not kidding, in the last 1/10 of a second.
Someone go for a jumper?
No, a guy went for a jumper. It missed, and his teammate tapped it in. And I mean, a nanosecond later, the light went on.
Nice.
It was unbelievable. And they lost. They were the visitors.
I'm still energized over the '68 World Series with Detroit coming back from being down 1-3
and beating Bob Gibson.
Yes, but you know, sorry, Lisa, we're talking about another millennium ago. It was a time when the pyramids were still under warranty.
Yeah.
By the way, the funniest thing about that whole thing to me was that you're looking at Mickey Lolich. He was a great pitcher for Detroit.
Yes, he was.
And he had a huge pot belly, and they're talking about him, and someone says, well, Mickey's in his late 30s now. What's he going to do when he retires? And someone said this. One of the announcers said this with a straight face, which I couldn't believe. He said, well, Mickey plans to open up a donut shop. I fell off the chair. I just collapsed. I mean, they might as well have said, well, he's going to open up a large sickle factory. I mean, God almighty. Can you be fatter?
Large Sickle was my dancer name in the 90s. Yeah.
Not bad.
Well, they weren't giving cable away. But after my second performance on the oil rig, it sank, sadly. So smoking in the boys' room. Yes, I love it, Lisa.
I don't know if you read this, but New York is sinking. New York City is sinking from the weight of the buildings. Seriously. It's going to be underwater, and it's going to be underwater in about 50 years. And so that leads me to say, why would I care?
Well, if they can save New Orleans, I'm sure they'll find a way to build a moat around Manhattan.
They will. They'll find a way.
And do whatever it is needs to be done there and go from there. So Sorry, I wasn't at the Unclub last night, folks. I was out here like a good little squirrel or rodent in a wheel, trying to make a living here, keep my overlords happy. But
You got
happy
to
to
do what you
report,
got to do.
happy to report that Jeff Bezos's new yacht, the one that was so big they couldn't get it out, they managed to spring it somehow or another, and it also happens to have a chase yacht that goes along with it. So the richest human being that's ever lived, with the possible exception of I don't know, Liz Taylor's jeweler, is out having a great time. And
His chase yacht is
he's got a chase yacht. Yeah,
I know, but it's rare to have a helicopter pad on a yacht.
Yeah.
But he's got both the yacht and the chase yacht have a helicopter pad on it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how can you go out to sea with only one helicopter pad? What sort of rude?
I'm going to tell you, this is what tells me how rich he is. Okay.
Yeah.
His wife, his ex-wife, correct me if I'm wrong, got at least 20. How much was it?
About 100 billion.
And he didn't peep about it. There was no anger. There was no bitterness. There was like,
because he's still even with all that money, it's still
that's
the
what I'm
richest
saying.
guy
But that's exactly what I'm saying. That you could lose $100 billion in a divorce settlement and go, she's a wonderful person. Any other human being on the planet is going to the voodoo doll store and seeing what they have in stock.
I'm going total Martin Scorsese, and she's getting knocked off, and then I killed the junkie the next day that did the job. So I mean,
to his ex-wife's credit too, when she found out how much money that actually was, because nobody really knows how much money that is until, okay, now this is your money, and the accountant sits down with you. She gives away $100 million a year, and she says, "I'll never run out of money."
Never. Yeah, she does. She gives out a lot of money to charity. And she got married again. She got married again to a guy who said, "I can't believe I'm this fucking lucky. Oh my God, I cannot believe this."
If there's any justice in the world, she married her gym trainer or something like that.
I tried to do that; it didn't work out for me.
Same guy.
Well, but hey, I think there's a lot more. Just let's say there's more than one angry dyslexic homosexual out there in the world.
Talk about the squat thrust.
I have a very strict rule: don't date gym people. Don't do that. You want them throwing passive-aggressive comments at you about how you're not working out enough? Like, is that what you want?
It all depends on whether I'm tied up to the post or not. But never mind. That's probably more than what you wanted to hear. Sorry.
You don't really need a gym for that, Jason.
No, you don't. No.
Well,
you don't.
you've never
maybe
been to the
use
gym
a
that I
guy
go
named
to.
Jim.
Well, as I've said in my routine,
don't count on us fat people about that stuff. We know things.
As I've said many times on stage, the gym I go to is not a gay gym until I get there.
Ah,
and then hey, come on.
Then all the equipment gets called a. Then all the equipment gets called a pony.
I used to wait tables at a restaurant. There were a lot of waiters and a lot of servers there, like 24, because every server who worked there was a performer. So people would go on the road. Like, I'd go on the road for 5 weeks. It was the greatest place I've ever worked, because I'd go on the road for 5 weeks and come back, and there'd be 7 shifts waiting for me.
Yeah.
Because someone else was going on the road in the interim. And so someone said to me, How many men work at that restaurant? I said, well, you're talking about servers or everybody? You're talking about cooks? No, servers. I said, 13. And he said, and how many are gay? I said, 11.
12? Yeah.
So far.
Right. Yeah.
No. But I said 11. And he goes, doesn't that bother you? I go, yes, it does. I'm giving all my tip money back. Go screw yourself. What are you talking about? What are you, nuts? You know who I've waited on at this place? It was a very well-known place. I waited on Al Pacino. I waited on Elizabeth Taylor. I waited on the Romantics. I waited on Adam Ant. A lot of famous people. And no one said, "Oh, there's gay waiters. I can't work. I can't eat here." What are you, nuts?
It's not contagious.
And the worst that can happen is we show up and we help you arrange the closet. We get the shoes all in order. I mean, I've gotten the autumn clothes so that they're in back because it's summer right now, so you're not going to be going back there for a little bit.
The rudest celebrity, and I think they're from Michigan, was the Romantics.
Yeah,
they're from Detroit. They're from Hamtramck.
They were very. They said, "Listen, we asked this Spanish kid for something, and he didn't bring it back." I said, "Maybe it's because he's Peruvian."
They
And
wouldn't
the
know
guy
the
said,
difference.
"Spanish, Peruvian. What does it matter?" I said, "Why don't we call him over?" So I said, "Juan, come here for a minute." And he goes, "No, that's okay." I said, "No, I'd like to know what he thinks." "Juan, this gentleman thinks you're Spanish." And he said something in Spanish, and he looked at me and winked, and he walked away, and he said, "What did he say?" I said, "You don't want to know."
Something about Maricom, the puta.
Well, no, the reason he didn't want to know is because I didn't know, and Juan knew I didn't know.
Well, let's not forget.
Well, what did you say? And what did I say? I said, "My mother also works as a server." That's what you said. I go, yeah. I said, "Is it true?" He says, "No."
Well,
But
Mark, you remember this? It was some time ago, but we had some Detroit auto workers who were mad at the Japanese, so they killed a Japanese man whose name was Vincent Chin, and turned out to be very Chinese. Yeah, he was a very Chinese man, but that didn't stop our dear friends from Warren from beating him to death. So again, discernment is not always our strong suit up here. It's a little too much inbreeding, a little too much time in the factory. It happens.
I don't want to.
Well, do you remember the movie? You remember the movie Gung Ho?
Yeah, that was based here.
That's what that was about.
Yeah.
Actually, you know where they filmed? They didn't film that in Detroit. They filmed it in Kalamazoo.
Really?
Just before they closed down the Checker cab manufacturing.
Yeah.
Checker cabs were made in Kalamazoo.
Yes,
and they were closing it down because all the yellow cabs in New York now are Toyotas, but they used to make Checker cabs were made by the Checker Cab Company.
Yep.
And it wasn't one of the big three, but it was big enough. They had enough yellow cab sales that they had a whole factory there.
Yep.
And that's what they used to film Gung Ho in. And of course, they weren't making Checker cabs there in the story. But
so in Gung Ho, they
had already stopped making them, but the facility was still there and operating, so they were able to.
You know who drives the Checker Marathon?
Who's
Fran Lebowitz.
Really?
She does.
That's her car.
It still runs?
Cool. Look, she's got money, so she parks it in a garage.
Yeah.
I'm sure, listen, you probably drive more in one day than she's driven in a month. But, she can pay for she has the money to pay for the garage. And, she wants a car. She's got a car.
Well, she needs something practical for the photo equipment. She's a hell of a photographer.
Is she really?
Yeah. If it's the same Fran Lebowitz I'm thinking of, she's been a photographer for Rolling Stones.
No, you're thinking of Annie Leibovitz. No.
I'm thinking of Annie. I'm sorry. You're right. You're right.
No, this is the pundit.
This is the one who's been a judge on Law and Order a couple of times.
Yes,
that one. The other Leibowitz. Well, even still, I mean, when I first started at the cab company, we had 2 Checker cabs on the back of the lot. They had just been retired. I missed them by a matter of weeks. And we'd switched into the Ford Crown Victoria, which became the
They asked Fran Lebowitz, how come she doesn't have a girlfriend? Doesn't have someone in her life. And she said, I'll never forget this. She said, "I'm a great friend. I'm a horrible."
I understand how that goes. Yeah. I can hear you there. So what is she written? I'm trying to think because I know I've seen her on Law and Order.
I have a book of her essays. She writes essays.
Who'd she write for?
And she also makes a lot of money doing personal appearances.
Okay.
Lectures.
Would I find her in the New York Post or New Yorker?
No.
I mean, the New Yorker or anything along those lines.
Google Fran Lebowitz.
Okay. And
you'll come up with a series of her books.
Okay. Yeah, because
But she's very funny.
Okay.
She's very, very funny. I'll tell you what she's kind of like. She's kind of like Oscar Levant.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Who once said that Jane Mansfield mistakes, what was it, asthma for sex appeal. And he said, I saw this movie with Joey Bishop called Indians 3. He said, I tried to make a citizen's arrest of the cashier.
Yeah, you know, again, he's been gone for a while, but Alistair, you know, the British dude used to be on PBS for years.
Alistair MacLean.
Well, I'm thinking. Well, then no, he's the spy writer, and of course, Aleister Crowley.
I know who you're thinking of, and I can't.
Famous Satanist, and I'm not thinking about the famous, not presently, but Aleister Cook. My God,
Aleister Cook. Okay.
Excuse me, guys. After the show, I'm going to be jumping off the top of this parking structure. It's time for me to go.
Well,
it's
Ernie Kovacs used to do a parody of him called Alistair Cookie.
Really, but he used to do a weekly monologue called Letters from America. He'd do it on BBC, and I was a night driver at the time. And he did everything from he was there when Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated. But one of the best things he ever did was when Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan passed away, and he did a nice little 20-minute long sort of ode to Moynihan, who I thought was actually one of the best senators that New York's ever had. That's just my opinion. What do I know? But and a guy who, by the way, worked for Nixon as the ambassador to the UN. Again,
well, you know that what's his Alistair Cook. I'm going to go back in time. I think before even you guys know who this is or what this is. Alistair Cook had a show on PBS called Omnibus.
Yes, he did.
And Omnibus was kind of like CBS Sunday Morning.
Yep.
Which just had Arnold Schwarzenegger on, who's now devoting his life to the to correcting the ills of the environment. The son that he had with the maid, the whole family has taken this kid under their wing.
Really?
Except for his ex-wife, who's taken him under her arm for a headlock, where she pummels him daily. No, but they said, listen, it's not the kid's fault.
Yeah.
And he's like 22 years old now. He's incredibly good looking.
He wouldn't be the first Kennedy with a little bit of a dodgy parenthood, would he?
What are you trying to say?
Well, let's not forget old man Kennedy did have his daughter lobotomized.
My favorite joke about any Kennedy is, and there can be any opening to this, okay? Any opening. Am I hungry? Huh? Does Rose Kennedy have a black dress?
God. Oh my God. Can you imagine what Joe's life must have been in those last years when Rose was like, you're all mine now, Joe. I'm the only one left, and I'm not going to leave your side, you fucking bastard.
Now crawl to me, old man, crawl.
Exactly. It repeats the scene from Whatever Happened to Baby Jane with you wouldn't be doing this to me if I wasn't in this wheelchair.
But you are, Blanche.
You are in the wheelchair. Sorry, Lisa. I know these are all references. At least
when Robert Kennedy was shot, Joseph Kennedy Sr. was near the end.
Yeah, they didn't tell him.
No, they did. They
did? Oh, I thought that he was.
They did tell him,
right?
Because they knew it wouldn't register.
Yeah. He was pretty much. And now we've got Robert Kennedy's son disappointing us on a. And I appreciate I'm a guy who appreciates good political trolling, but the thing is, this is kind of serious business. And Robert Kennedy, what is he, the third or the second or the third, whatever? He's been an anti-vaxxer for the better part of 20 years. Not just the most recent vaccine. I mean, all vaccines.
All vaccines.
And that is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous proposition to be in, because that we can argue about the COVID all we want. That's fine. But stuff like polio, measles, that is inarguable.
Yeah, he thinks that rubella, I think the measles, is that the measles one?
German measles, yes.
Should be outlawed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are children now who are walking this earth. And the polio vaccine, I might have had polio if it wasn't for the polio vaccine.
Oh, yeah. People forget how horrifying polio was. And there was nothing you could do about it. Once you got it, you had it. You either lived or you didn't.
There's two words you don't hear anymore because of the polio vaccine. Iron lung.
Yes, exactly. Which, again, sounds like a good metal band, but no, it's yeah. I mean,
which is also the worst name for a band ever.
Again, and the fact that Kennedy is now polling about 19% against Biden should tell the leadership of the Democrat Party they really need to start pulling some strings. They've done it before. They can do it again.
You sound like you're playing a banjo with your voice.
I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, must be me.
Not your fault.
I'm just saying it's time for the Democrats to do something about Joe, because if Robert Kennedy's getting 19% of the vote, that's a problem. That's a big problem. I hear you, man. I'm sorry. Here, I'm gonna pop out. Can you guys hear me, or am I not coming through all right? All right. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna pop out. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, that was Jason Grant.
Well,
I guess he told us.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to tell you this joke.
Everybody sounds better now, though. So I guess it was his phone. So
I'm going to tell you this joke, and I really hope you like it.
All right.
So this guy puts his father in a senior citizens home. Please tell me I didn't tell you this. And he says to his father, "How do you like it here?" And the father says, "Oh, it's fantastic. The food is great. The activities are terrific. And the best thing are the orderlies. Those guys have such great senses of humor." Let me show you what I mean. You see that guy there with one leg? They call him Speedo. And you see the guy who has a cane because he's blind? They call him Eagle Eye. And me, I haven't had a woman in 25 years. I'm the fucking Jew.
Oh, God.
I love that joke. If I told it in this building where I live now, you'd find my body in the elevator shaft.
Hey, Jason's back. All right.
Hello, I'm back.
Someone got mad at me here because every time there's a Jewish holiday, one of the elevators, we have two, thank God. One of them, they only stop on certain floors because this is so ridiculous. You're not allowed to press a button, to elevate the elevator. You have to get on, it goes automatically. So I get on that elevator because I only live on the second floor, so I don't give a shit. But I got on the elevator, and this woman said to me, because she lives on the third floor, it stops at 8 of the 20 floors. And so she says to me, "You're Jewish, right?" I said, "Yeah." She said, this was not a major holiday. And she goes, "What holiday is this?" I said, "I think it's the festival of the..." And this woman in the elevator said, "You should be ashamed." I said, I know. It's after September and I'm wearing white. I have no. She goes, "You are some Jew." I said, "Stop it. You're turning my head." And so the other woman who wasn't Jewish said, "You just come up with things to piss people off, don't you?" I said, "That's going to be on my tombstone." Are you kidding me? I said, "No." I said, "The fault is not in me. The fault is in her about getting pissed off. It's on her." I said, take a joke, okay, Mendel? Come on. Christ.
Oh, my goodness. Well, yeah, isn't that one of the rules that you can't operate the elevator? I mean,
yeah, and on Yom Kippur, which is the day you fast, you can't brush your teeth, you can't chew gum, you can't lick a stamp. I mean, it's so what I used to do when I was an observant Jew is what I would do is I would stay up till 4 a.m. the night before. And by the way, you don't eat a heavy meal. People say, "I'm going to eat a heavy meal." No, a medium meal. If you eat a heavy meal, you'll be starving in 5 hours. I can't explain why, but you will be. So I would eat a medium meal, stay up till 4 a.m. That way I would sleep till noon.
Yeah.
And then go to the synagogue until 5 o'clock, and then go home, smoke a joint, and hug a box of Quaker 100%, and then eat it. at sundown.
Well, you gotta like that. Actually, it's a very, very direct approach.
It
I
was
like
reasonably foolproof. So,
it.
but then one day, my brother, who was much more observant than me, said to me, he said, last year when I was fasting, I got really dizzy. I almost passed out. I said, so I went to my doctor and I said, well, what is this? He goes, well, when was the last time you ate? And I told him what it was. And he said, you got to eat. He said,
Yeah.
he said, I'm sorry if it violates your religious beliefs, but you don't have to eat a full meal, but eat something. Eat a sandwich, maybe, ham and cheese. No,
Yeah,
but eat something, otherwise this is going to happen to you every year.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I mean, my understanding, like the rules against travel and whatnot, because I see them. We have a fairly large Orthodox population here in town, and you see them walking, to service and back.
You can't drive.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can get in a car and be driven though.
Well, that's what I mean. I think you can, because when you get to a certain age, they do allow for that. I know back when I used to have my own cab company and I had a ton of Jewish customers, I would never charge them. They'd of course give me free legal advice, so I mean, I guess it worked out. But then I would drop them off like half a block away from the temple because they didn't want to be seen pulling up.
Very smart, very smart. Well, when my brother stopped being observant, we would be driving somewhere on the Sabbath, and he would be driving, and he'd see a rabbi go, "Hey, need a lift?" And I go, why'd you have to do that? He says, because I think that rule is bullshit. Okay?
Well,
your wife is in the hospital. No, I'm not going to drive. I'll walk there. What? No.
Right.
No. I told you the story. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, and the Levitican rules were written kind of a long time ago. I don't think they had envisioned
kind of a long time ago.
Kind of mass transit. I mean that's what, Book of Exodus.
Yeah.
Aaron Levy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I mean they weren't expecting lots of the sort of things that back during the Bronze Age, when a trip on a donkey cart was kind of a thing.
Well, the Book of Aaron's spelling is the one that really.
At least it comes with a great home, a terrific view, and a poorly talented daughter who's a little delusional about her abilities. But she can't be worse than Sofia Coppola in Godfather 3.
Although Sofia Coppola won an Oscar for Best Screenplay for Lost in Translation.
No problem. She can direct. She can.
But she couldn't act. But you know why she got that part, right?
Which one? The one in Godfather 3?
Her name's Coppola.
Winona Ryder
was supposed to have it.
I love when they go, it's from exhaustion. You're 27.
She was busy doing coke with Johnny Depp, and have you seen that man naked?
Whenever
I have.
It's exhaustion. Yeah, you were tired of that spoon hitting your nostril. Yeah,
well, I don't think it was just a spoon. I think there were other things involved too. And had I been naked with Johnny Depp, it would have been a lot more than the spoon, no doubt. But hey, back in the day, man, the guy was, I don't know what he's about now, but back then he was kind of hot, it was an 80s thing.
You know what her real name is?
Oh no.
Well, you just bugged out. You just bugged out, Sammy.
Oh no. We got to get these mechanical
technical
issues.
There we go. It's her real name.
Oh really? So, Lisa, allow me to ask you.
People don't read their names like they used to.
Hey, Tina Turner just passed away, and there have been some other, and I've been jamming on a bunch of old Grace Slick, Janis Joplin. In your day and age, you're existing. I know. You're our conduit to something that isn't 300 years old. Who is probably the best female singer around? And who would you argue is maybe the least talented, but yet somehow or another this bitch is making a lot of money?
Oh man, that's hard. That's a hard question.
Are you talking about right now?
Yeah, right now. I mean, again, I can tell you about the old days, but I was just kind of curious. Who's the new people? Because I am completely out of my depth there.
Oh goodness, I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of like pop music these days. Like,
well, it's unlistenable. It's
It's different.
I have tried to listen to Billie Eilish just to hear Billie Eilish. Every time she starts talking and this and that, and there's a long intro, and by the time we get to, I'm already tuned. I'm out. I'm done here. It's like I can't. She might be great. She may be horrible. I don't know. It's like, honey, sing. Get up to the microphone, belt it out. Let's go. Let's do this.
10 years or 15 or what?
Sam's back. But I mean, I heard some Kesha the other day that was being foisted upon me by people in the car. And by the time it was over, I'm like, I would rather have my teeth rolled by Laurence Olivier and Marathon Man because it would be less painful. And I'm going, what's her name? Beyonce back in the day, she could carry a tune. She was a beautiful woman, great. Back when she was in the 3-girl group, and all that. But
the best voice I've heard over the last 15 years, Jennifer Hudson.
I'm not. Isn't she related to Ernie Hudson, or am I mistaken about that?
The best voice I've heard in the last decade.
Okay. I've not heard. I'm not familiar with her work.
Probably one of my favorites. Like one of my favorites.
There you go. You saying, Lisa, one of your favorites is?
One of my favorites is probably Lady Gaga. Like,
she's an actual musician.
She is an actual musician, and like she has a great album with Tony Bennett. And then she did, the movie A Star Is Born, and like everybody.
Well, I mean, she's a real talent. There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, she doesn't. She doesn't need the enhancement from the voice box.
Yeah. No. I mean, so I mean, again, after Tina passed, the station I listened to was playing not only her stuff, but Ronnie Spector, who passed away not too long ago. Some of the what's her name? The Dusty Springfield, who is just, to me, was an amazing singer.
Well, I don't know if you've been to. I don't know if you've been to Detroit, but recently, Jason. But they're just now ramping up Aretha Franklin's funeral. So,
I tell you, they play a lot of Aretha Franklin from like the 1960s. And God damn, that woman was badass. Did you? I mean, some of the she does a good version of Satisfaction that's every bit as good as the Rolling Stones. I mean, Aretha Franklin was an amazing singer. And I do remember when the Rosa Parks funeral went a little long, and the hearse ran out of gas on the way to the funeral plot, which, that happens. Ran a little long.
Well, Aretha and Rosa's funeral were both at the same from the same church, and went to the same cemetery.
Yeah,
and were nowhere near their home churches. But the church that they use, that one at 7 Mile and Shiawassee, they use that church because they can pack the thing, and if it's going to be Rosa Parks or Aretha Franklin, it's going to have a lot of people there. So that's why they use that particular church for the large funerals.
I didn't know that Aretha had a sister who also recorded.
Had a sister that recorded and wrote.
Irma.
Wrote a lot of her hits.
Wrote Little Piece of My Heart. She wrote Take a Little Piece of My Heart.
Take a Little Piece of My Heart. That was her sister.
Irma Franklin.
Yes. I mean, I did not know that. And I was like,
and her father wrote a lot of hits, but they were gospel hits, so only the church people. Yeah, C.L. Franklin.
Well, I grew up on that stuff. My mother, though she may have been a white woman hillbilly, we grew up on Mahalia Jackson and who was the one man who was we grew up on a ton of black gospel, black soul.
Mahalia Jackson.
Yeah, Mahalia Jackson, the Reverend James Cleveland, I think it was, and just all kinds of that sort of thing. And she grew up in that age. Sam, no doubt, can remember this when you had the Little Richard's version of one song, but you put Pat Boone's version of it up on top of the dresser, so your parents didn't think you were being corrupted by this evil communist plot that was rock and roll.
Here, ain't that a shame? Oh my God. Oh, it was awful.
You're clipping out.
Ain't That a Shame?
Yeah.
God, that's a great song.
How about now?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
there you go.
When Pat Boone sang it, it was the perfect. When Pat Boone sang it, it was the perfect title. Ain't That a Shame? Oh God. You know, they made fun of that.
His version,
the white kid singing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, his version of Tutti Frutti is, again, if you want to see me cringe.
Oh God,
pain,
you just made my eyes cross.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what though, Jason? There are songs you were talking about, songs that you hear today that you just can't stand listening to.
Yeah.
Some of those songs, I'd like to hear the Pat Boone version of it. Just, you know.
I used to have a fairly large
You'll be sorry.
Of bad music. I'm a connoisseur of really bad music. It's also referred to as outsider music, everything from the Shags, various, the kind of stuff that you, well, when I drive a cab back in the day, more so, not so much now, people say, just put on what you're listening to. And it's like, oh, really? Well, let's see how long you let. Little Marky is a Christian fundamentalist who channels a 9-year-old boy, or sometimes even the aborted fetus. His best song is "Diary of an Unborn Child." The chorus is, "Mommy, why did you kill me when God made me just for you?" It's
wow. I thought Jews had guilt.
Oh no, this is. He's got another song about a young boy who's beaten to death by his alcoholic father. Little Marky, he's on YouTube. Unfortunately, they can't do anything about it.
That's a hard pass.
Little Marky and his Good Time Band.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah,
Come on, get happy.
Yeah. You know the people that are just like, I like anything, I listen to anything. Like, no,
exactly.
You don't.
And then it's like, oh, I
put on my weird dark ambient music, and then suddenly I'm the weirdo.
When I drove a cab, I had the same thing. This guy said, "Whatever you have on," I turned it off when he got in the cab. He said, "Whatever you have on now, crank it up." It was Frankenstein by Edgar Winter.
Yeah, by Edgar Winter, yeah, which is a great.
And he goes,
music.
"Oh, I don't want to hear that." I said, "You know, it's stuck. It's stuck. I can't move it. You know, don't tell me play anything. I happen to love this song."
I'm very lucky that in this area we have some of the best jazz stations on planet Earth.
You have some of the best jazz players.
Yes,
yeah,
we do. We're very fortunate.
That's a lot of those guys who were in the Funk Brothers made a nice living playing jazz.
They were amazing.
Well, a lot of those guys went to the music program at Northwestern High School, Southwestern High School, Northern High School, Detroit Central. They had some great music programs.
What's the high school in Detroit that holds like 5,000 students and has an elevator? Is that Northwestern?
Cass. Well, Northwestern is
Cass Tech, right? Cass Tech.
Cass Tech is 8 stories high. So
that's it. There was
a
time Detroit had the Jewel.
The old one was 10 stories high, but they rebuilt it and made it a little bit more efficient. So it's only 8 stories tall now, but the original was 10 stories tall.
Yeah. No, the Detroit had an amazing school system. Lily Tomlin, George C. Scott. I'm sure you've heard of those two folks.
Losers.
Yeah, tell me about.
Yeah, my mom and Lily Tomlin went to the same junior high school.
There you go. I'm watching Dr. Strangelove, and I still love George C. Scott as General Turgidson. You know, in that again.
God,
that is the darkest of comedies, and
how did Peter Sellers miss getting an Oscar?
You know, he was just not a likable human being, and I think sometimes that plays a role because.
The same reason Chevy Chase doesn't get one, I guess.
Oh God!
Chevy Chase is not legally allowed to say Oscar. He can't watch The Odd Couple. That's how bad it is for him.
Although in the first holiday or vacation movie, did a good job.
He was great on Law and Order when he played the actor who had the producer killed. Oh no, he was great. He's terrific.
We can pick up this conversation afterwards, but the live portion is well, you can hear the music, can't you? It's just about to end here.
I'm going to be watching the game, so please forgive me.
Andy did call and apologize for not being able to make it on, but he'll be here next week. So, and of course, every Sunday night at the Ale House, we have the Young Club. So join us live or come back here Monday night at 8 o'clock, and we'll see you all again. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jason.
Bye, Lisa. Bye, Jason.
We will see everybody next week. Good night, everyone.
Bye, Mark. I'll see you all next week.
I'll see you. Yeah, and I won't be in New York, so you'll see me here.